Welcome back to Golf Extra. There have been plenty of angles for journalists and others in sports media to take on the LIV-PGA issue over the last couple of years, but no journalist has taken greater advantage of these opportunities than Alan Shipnuck. After recently writing a controversial and best-selling biography of Phil Mickelson, Shipnuck is back with another book, which digs into the LIV drama to the fullest. The biggest surprise, though, Tiger Woods' role in it all. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Now, let's get right into how Tiger Woods is involved in Alan Shipnuck's latest book. Alan Shipnuck has had a long career as a golf journalist with Sports Illustrated and Golf Magazine, decorated with a significant number of awards from organizations like the Golf Writers Association of America. He's also written a series of golf books, including Bud, Sweat, and Tease, about the future PGA Championship winner Rich Beem, The Battle for Augusta National, about the famous golf club's all-male membership controversy, and most recently, a headline-making biography about Phil Mickelson entitled Phil, the rip-roaring and unauthorized biography of golf's most colorful superstar. Now writing for the Fire Pit Collective, Shipnuck has continued to spin yarns about the players embroiled in the LIV-PGA saga, most of which seem to be grounded in some amount of fact, even if the quotes come from anonymous sources. That brings us to the subject of today's video, how Shipnuck dragged Tiger Woods into his controversial new book, Live and Let Die. In the book, Shipnuck writes about an infamous incident from this past year in which Phil Mickelson wasn't invited to an event held by the Royal and Ancient Golf Club prior to the Open Championship, despite being a former champion of the event. Unsurprisingly, this was inferred to because of Phil's outspoken connection with LIV Golf, but there was no verified reasoning behind this in the press, that is, until Shipnuck got involved with his journalistic skills and got to the bottom of things. What Shipnuck was able to verify through his investigation was that the LIV connection did have something to do with Phil's snub from the R&A dinner, but it was also because of the influence of Tiger Woods. According to a quote from an anonymous player to Shipnuck for inclusion in his book, prior to the dinner, Tiger talked to a handful of other past champions to get their blessing and then went to the R&A and told them basically no one wanted Phil there and it would make the night weird and awkward. Whose side were they going to take, Tiger's or Phil's? That's an easy choice. That's definitely an interesting perspective, but it's hard to take the anonymous player's word for it with no other confirmation. Phil himself did comment on the issue when the news first came out, saying, "The R&A contacted me a couple of weeks before the dinner and said, look, we don't think it's a great idea you go, but if you want, you can. I just didn't want to make a big deal about it, so I said fine. We both kind of agreed that it would be best if I didn't." In any case, the fact that Tiger's being implicated as having a role in this drama is a bit of a change from what he has historically been known for, that is, hyper-focused on his on-course play. The emergence of LIV Golf changed everything, as Shipnuck explained in his media appearances supporting the book. This battle for the soul of professional golf gave Tiger a purpose. It gave him a rallying cry. He was this galvanizing figure for the PGA Tour, fighting for its legacy. Shipnuck continued, "Tiger's always been a loner. He's always been an introvert, and there's entire generations that don't know him at all because he's been injured for so long. I really think it's been a crucial part of Tiger's road back from that accident to have more human connection and to feel the love and warm embrace of his colleagues. I don't think you can overstate how important that this has been for Tiger." Shipnuck concluded his comments by saying, "We may ultimately have to thank LIV Golf for giving us a new, improved, and more engaged Tiger Woods." This wasn't the only thing that Shipnuck had to say about the LIV saga. He also had controversial comments about Rory McIlroy, another PGA Tour player who has been outspoken about LIV Golf. Shipnuck said about Rory, "Rory also emerged as the leading troll. Rory was a great ambassador for the tour, but he made it very personal. And the LIV players rolled their eyes about Rory being held up as this white knight because Rory has tremendous business interests through the PGA Tour that he's also fighting to protect." Shipnuck didn't just criticize the PGA players. He also added some context as to why the LIV players moved over to the upstart tour from the PGA. Regarding that matter, he said, "It misses all the nuance to say they just sold out and took the money. I mean, obviously, the money was an inducement. Everybody understands that, but there were more things going on." He told an interesting story about Bryson DeChambeau, saying, "DeChambeau told me that 6 years in a row, he tried to get elected to the Player Advisory Council on the PGA Tour. It's like running for president when you're in high school, but for 6 years in a row, his peers rejected him. He had real pain in his voice when he told me, I guess they just don't like me." He also mentioned a few historical golf villains who are now with LIV, saying, "Patrick Reed and Sergio Garcia have worn out their welcome on the PGA Tour. They were disliked by their peers. They were feuding with the leadership. LIV was just a fresh start, a new organization that caters to the players and has a different mentality. Phil Mickelson needed to be validated as the smartest guy in the room. All of them wanted the money, clearly, but there's a lot more at play. The good guys always have a little shadow, and with the bad guys, there's usually a redeeming quality or two. In totality, Shipnuck was able to provide a bit more of a complete picture regarding the allure of LIV, saying, "They all doubled and tripled their salaries. One of Phil Mickelson's primary complaints was that the PGA Tour was sitting on a lot of money that belonged to the players. You could say he was vindicated in that regard." Shipnuck also had an optimistic view on the future of a golf organization that merged the PGA Tour and LIV Golf, as the framework agreement between the two groups aims to create, saying, "If they can create a schedule where you take maybe the best dozen PGA Tour events, the best 5 or 6 on the European Tour, and 2 or 3 LIV events, and you put this together in a way that makes sense geographically and throughout the year, and all the best players will always show up, that would be a huge win for golf fans." You could tell that Shipnuck is outspoken too. He wasn't done yet. He still thinks that LIV will become even more palatable over time as resistance fades, saying, "In the first year of LIV, the players were pounded with questions about Khashoggi, about Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, about the human rights abuses of the Saudi government against its own citizens, and by year 2, those questions started to disappear because fatigue sets in. That's why sports washing is so popular among certain bad actors, because it does have that effect over time. You normalize these countries. Over time, the resistance starts to fade away, and there does become this acceptance that they're part of professional sports or part of the global economy, and maybe they are our allies." Not everyone is a fan of Alan Shipnuck and his efforts to shed light on the inner workings of golf. PGA player Justin Thomas had this to say recently on Twitter: "I'd like to speak on behalf of a lot of tour players and say we're sick of Alan Shipnuck doing what he does. Bring positivity and good stories to help grow the game of golf. Not try and make money bashing guys, earning zero trust with a lot of incorrect information. Ridiculous." Still, Shipnuck isn't fazed, saying only, "My obligation's to the reader, not to the players. They count on me to give them the truth and tell them what's really happening behind the scenes. When you do that, you offer this counter-narrative for what the players want to believe, what they've been told by their leadership, what's in their best interest. They sometimes get upset about it. I feel that it's really their problem, not mine." Comment with your thoughts and make sure to subscribe for more content like this. We'll catch you in the next one.